This is the Real Sim Racing Rewind, episode number 2, on January 13th, 2013. This week on the Rewind, Chalmers Parker takes the late model crown.
Chad Cole takes the Monday Night Icebreaker, Tuesday Night Trading Paints Pro Cup, and Wednesday Night Asphalt Assault Series.
Bobby Terrell gets his first win in the Outlaw Truck Series.
And Alan Lewis comes back and wins the Midnight Thunder on Friday night.
Stay tuned for more on the Rewind as we go in depth on Realsimracing.com. Hello, sim racing fans, and welcome here to the Realsimracing.com Rewind here on ETV and downloaded through podcast form. Oh, there's YouTube too as well. And as always, I am the one, the only Patrick Hahe, and joining me as well, Greg Netherwood. Greg, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Watching a nice, wonderful day of football. As most people know, we record on Sunday, so playoff time, and it's been a good day so far. How about you?
Yeah, I can't complain either. Watched some football today and then kind of turned it all off because after the Atlanta game, you really couldn't find more exciting football than that. And plus, Ohio State beat Michigan, so it was a good day.
Well, after that Atlanta Seahawks, the Atlanta and Seahawks game, it was just anything that the Texans and Patriots do, it's not really going to matter. So nothing compares. So let's get back to our sim racing here. I want to start with a little bit of news. Realsimracing.com has actually formed a new series that will be running on Saturday nights with practice opening at 9:30, with the race at 10:30 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. It's called the Pro Cup Series, differentiating from the Can-Am Series, their Tuesday Night Pro Cup. This one actually will be using the A Series car, the Impala, and will be running open setups, which is something new for Real Sim Racing. You've probably seen, and anybody who's listening, we usually run fixed setups, so this is definitely different.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a new challenge. Pro drivers are going to be allowed to race, which is also something that's been in discussion for quite some time amongst all the series for Real Sim Racing, because we want to, one of the goals was to let everyday drivers come and race, and there's going to be a place for the pro drivers that to come race and compete with open sets and maybe get a little extra practice in. And, Landon Huffman raced with Real Sim Racing for a long time. He got that black stripe across the bumper, and he might have a new home.
It's always been a point of contention with all the drivers and admins at Real Sim Racing, whether to allow professionals or not. And now they actually have a place to go. And it's actually looking to be a really good stepping point for a lot of drivers who have been used to fixed setups for so long, being able to come in and try their open setups, try to do some new things. And it's also making a point for the pro drivers to come in, if they do come in, to be vocal with the newer drivers who are still basically just adjusting the regular iRacing fix setup and go from there. It'll be a good learning experience for everybody, I think.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And just please note that the times are a little bit different. They'll actually be doing practice at 9:30 with qualifying at 10:30, race about 10:40 p.m. Eastern time. They're going to do a 6-race test season, and should be interesting to see how that develops. I believe they will be doing the weeks that the SK Mod series will not be running. Is that right, Greg?
Actually, they will be running every Saturday for 6 weeks, starting January 19th, starting at Charlotte, I believe it is.
All right, so sign up if you want a new challenge. That is the Real Sim Racing Pro Cup in the A-Car Impala. Now, why don't we go ahead and jump right in to the Icebreaker series, which you can find live on ETV every Monday night, with the broadcast starting at 9:30 p.m. So, how'd the Icebreaker race shake out this week, Greg?
Well, normally I'm with you in the booth watching and playing the babysitter, so to speak, for this series. But actually, I was substituting for Glenn Campbell this week. So actually, I had the first-person view this time. And I had a pretty good view of Chad Cole's bumper as he went out there and led 74 of the 150 laps. It was quite crazy. He did have one little mix-up in the middle of the race, though, on lap 33. I don't know if you saw that, but they caught it on the broadcast where he slid through his pit stall, pushed him all the way back to 23rd place, and he still came all the way back to get the 74 laps up front and lead and win.
Yeah, it was an interesting race in a lot of ways. First of all, it was the first time that the Icebreaker / Full Throttle Cup Series has been at Rockingham. So there's first point. And second point, you did have that comeback from Cole It was a lot of learning the track and learning to race around each other. There were a few cautions in that race and a few tempers as well. But there was a nice long green flag run there in the middle of the race, and once everybody got going there, I thought it was going to go green all the way to the end. But it was like almost everybody had a little bell go off in their head and say, "Oh, better get going. The race is almost over."
It was crazy. Once the tires warmed up, it was really like you're out there on ice. Get it, icebreaker ice. That's a joke. I'm funny.
Mm.
I'll be here all week. Try the veal. But anyway, when the tires got warm, and you were sliding all over the place, and you'd go into the corner low, and you'd end up on the wall before you knew it. So everybody was really kind of just trying to feel each other out, and there really wasn't a lot of hard racing. Everybody kind of got strung out, but with little pockets here and there. But as they say, cautions breed cautions. Near the end, we had a couple back to back, and a restart with about 10 to go pushed the field back together. I thought Cole was going to have some trouble. David Lanza coming from all the way from 29th on the starting grid up to second to put his a little bit of pressure on Cole at the end there.
Yeah, Cole had some challenges earlier in the race, though. Dreybach, Terrell, and Vincent were all giving him some pressure throughout the race, but they all got caught up in those accidents you talked about at the end of the race and took them out of the running, and what could have been a really great finish kind of died out.
Yeah, Dwayne Vincent actually had restarted with the wreck with 10 to go. He restarted about 11th, I believe it was 10th or 11th, and was just passing Eric Arnold for 4th, and was really going to make some noise up there, so to speak. And they got together, and that took out, I think, 5 or 6 people, including myself, Arnold, and Vincent. And that really ended the night for a lot of guys who had really good finishes lined up.
Yeah, so some great racing there on Monday night in the Icebreaker Series. Like you said, you should really tune in on ETV to check out the race because really great action there on ETV. So the final results from that race: Chad Cole was in first, Lanza second, John Abbott third, then Angelo Corradino in fourth, and Rich Jett in fifth. Greg, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the next race up for the Icebreaker Series?
The next race up is the Hippies Paint Shop 88 at Talladega Superspeedway. The last time we were here at this track in the B Series Impala, Ben Burnett went out and won on October 10th. And that was actually in the Asphalt Assault Series on a Wednesday night. But of course, this is Monday, so it's different. And as they always say with Talladega, anybody can win. It's a toss-up event. Ron Bouchard won a Superspeedway race in the real NASCAR, so I think you can point out that anybody can win here.
You love to bring that point up, don't you?
I really do, because it's like, really, that happened. But anyway, I digress. This is also the second. This is also the second points paying event for the Can-Am Racing Series.com Blizzard Bonus, which was last won by Chad Cole. That is for 5 eligible drivers. The top finisher of those 5 drivers. This week's eligible drivers being Dwayne Vincent, John Abbott, Glenn Campbell, Rick Fouts, and Nathan Little. Highest finisher of those 5 gets $10. If any of those 5 win it, that's $20. So definitely a nice bonus for them.
Yeah, especially since you have to pay out. And the nice thing at the end of the season will be the fact that the 3 eligible drivers that finish the highest in their Blizzard bonus race will have a shot at $50 if they can somehow win the season-ending race at Las Vegas. They have to go all in. And maybe if they can win, when they go all in, they can get those $50. And just a reminder, Chad Cole, I mean, he got that Blizzard bonus bucks from you, I think.
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but yeah, I won that money for him at Homestead. Although it was kind of odd, being the one who pays it out, that I won it. I kind of felt a little guilty for it, but I paid it to him anyway because even though it was me, he still kind of earned it.
Well, you got to exploit the loopholes when you can, and he successfully did it. That'll be fixed for next year.
Yeah. Although I will say that I'm secretly hoping nobody wins at Vegas because I don't really want to spend $50.
Well, you agreed to it, so it'll be more fun that way.
I know, and I'll be grateful to pay it out, so it's no big deal.
So remember, you can tune in on January 14th on ETV at etv-eplay.net at 9:30 p.m. for the broadcast. That is the Icebreaker Series from Realsimracing.com live on ETV, and you gotta see it live. Up next is the Asphalt Assault Series, which Greg, why don't you talk about this? Because I really don't want to talk about this race.
Well, we don't want to point out that you lost the points lead in this one, but I'll point it out anyway. But
It is pertinent to the race discussion, so I do not blame you.
Exactly. It's 90 hard laps at Kentucky. I could tell just by watching the race. I didn't participate, but I know you did. But just by watching the drivers, it just looked like a really tough one-lane track that you really had to hit your marks. And if you didn't, you were going back in a hurry as you were being freight trained. Am I right?
What are marks, Greg? I could not find any marks at that track.
Well, I mean, just because I happen to be watching you, I'll make you the example here. But I could definitely see a few drivers who would get track position by getting up to the top, top 5, top 6, and then if they messed up going into turn 1 or turn 3, everybody was running so close together that if you missed your mark and slid up the track, you had 5, 6 guys going right by it without even breathing hard.
Wait, people were actually hitting their marks and passing people? Oh, right. Yeah, well, it was just not a good race for me. I just couldn't find any grip. Couldn't enter, couldn't rotate. But enough about me. I'm 4th place in points now, so I don't matter anymore.
Well, and we'll go back to the winner here, which was of course Chad Cole, who we seem to be seeing that a lot lately at RSR, which I'm not a problem. He's earned every one of them, but he won by 0.4 of a second over RJ Williams, leading 24 of the 90 laps. RJ actually led the most with 57. There was only 5 lead changes that race, which is quite an evidence of how tough that track really is, because most races we have at RSR have, upwards of 10 lead changes a race, so 5 is really, really low.
Yeah, once you had the lead, you pretty much had it, and it's just a lot of hard racing in the back of the pack, though. As you mentioned, if you missed your line, you were getting freight trained, and just trying to get back on your line, it led to a lot of wrecks for people just fighting to get to the line that they needed. Not that there were a whole lot of cautions in this one. There were only 4 cautions for 16 laps. So it was pretty good from that aspect.
Yeah, and I could definitely tell by watching it. A lot of the wrecks, I know one was a driver self-spinning after he already had damage, but most of them were people hitting the wall coming off of turn 2 and coming down across the track. And that coming off of turn 2, it's really easy. If you mess up just a tiny little bit, that you're going to slide right up into the wall without even really knowing you're going to hit the wall until it's too late.
Well, that goes back to trying to hold your line, because if you really want to try and just get everything you can out of it, and sometimes 2 cars try to occupy the same space, and it just doesn't work out in the long run. But as you mentioned, Chad Cole won, and with his win, he takes over the points lead from moi, since I finished him 15th, and by 1 point. Yeah, Chad Cole now leads by 1 point over RJ Williams. RJ is the only driver in the top 4 without a win right now, since Abbott, Cole, and myself are up there as well. Abbott is in third in points, 4 back. I am 4th in points, 10 back. And Rich Jett is 5th, 14 points back. Up next for the Asphalt Assault Series is Dover International Raceway, 90 hard laps at the Concrete Mile. And that track, I don't really want to talk about that track either, because it's so hit or miss. In the Full Throttle Cup Series, they went caution free, but just since there's usually a full field in both races, but still, coming off of turn 2, coming off of turn 4, both hard places to handle side by side, and if you end up like that, it gets really awkward, and then bad things happen.
And that track surface just eats up your tires, and you can be wicked fast for about 5 laps, and you burn up your tires almost instantaneously. It's such a hard track to pass on and to race hard on. I'm still in awe from the Monday Night Full Throttle Cup Series where they went caution free, and just knowing how tough that track is. We ran it in the late model series, and it wasn't dreadful, but it was pretty close. The Asphalt Assault Series, we run it there before, and it wasn't bad, but it was definitely a lot of guys trying to race for a lot of positions that really shouldn't have been racing that hard, and it caused issues. So this is going to be either a really good race or a really bad one. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
And you can check out Asphalt Assault. You can actually join up and race in Asphalt Assault, and practice opens up at 8:30 on Wednesdays. Qualifying starts at 9:30, race about 9:40. That's Wednesday nights, all Eastern time. So come on, sign up at realsimracing.com for the Asphalt Assault Series. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to the Outlaw Truck Series, which you can also find live on ETV, 9:30 p.m. every Thursday night at etv-eplay.net.
This race was actually it was at Chicagoland. It was won by Bobby Terrell, who finally broke his string of some rough luck at Real Sim Racing. And I really am sad that I didn't get the chance to run this, and I don't know if you were around to see it, but Chicagoland is just such a fun track. It really is.
Oh, I was there. I just was in a spot that wouldn't really be considered too friendly to a lot of the drivers since I was in the sky. And
Boy,
well,
they really don't like us up there, do they?
no, they don't. But um, it was a good race for Bobby. He started second, and he had a little bit of trouble. He fell back to 12th, but he found his groove again and was able to move back up through the field and led the last 15 laps and got helped out by some cautions as well.
Yeah, there were 5 cautions for 20 laps, with 8 lead changes among 6 drivers. Joe Reuter, I really hope I'm saying his name right. I apologize to Joe if I'm not, but he led 52 laps, which was the most in the race, and seemed well on his way to winning before incident lap 71, right near the end, sent him all the way back to 24th, and he did manage to recover for 10th, but that's got to be heartbreaking, and he really looked like he was going to dominate this race.
Yeah, and finishing out the rest of the top 5, Chad Cole got a second. To go along with the rest of his dominating finishes this week. Talk about that. 3 wins in a second. Nate Little took third, Randy Wells fourth, David Lanza sitting in fifth.
And Terrell, actually, with his win, took the lead over Rhett McBride by 2 points. Doug Roth moves up to third, 8 points back. The aforementioned Joe Reuter is now up to fourth, 10 points back. And a very quiet 5th place in points for Nick Silver, 18 points back. He's got a neck for always being near the front, but nobody ever seems to mention his name. So congrats for Nick for being up to 5th.
Yeah, he's really starting to get something going for him, which is always nice to see when a driver starts to string some nice finishes together. Now the Outlaw Truck Series, which is Cough Cough live on ETV on Thursday nights, with a broadcast starting at 9:30 p.m. They're at Michigan this week, 65 laps at Michigan, which is always a fun track to watch the trucks on. Chad Cole beat David Lanza the last time the trucks were at Michigan in Real Sim Racing. He led 18 of 60 laps. Lanza led with 10, and pretty much a 2-truck show.
Yeah, that race, if I remember correctly, Cole and Lanza were pretty much the trucks to beat the whole time, and there was nobody going to touch those two. So we'll see if those two can put on another show again when we come back to Michigan next week.
Yeah, and so with that, we move on to the other truck series that we have here at Real Sim Racing. It's the Midnight Thunder Series, and Alan Lewis putting his name on the board. Nice job by him. It's his first race since August 28th at Bristol, and only his 4th race at Real Sim Racing, and he won.
He led 25 of the 75 laps. I was quite impressed. But I just have one question for Mr. Lewis. Is it G. Allen or is it just Allen? Because he always goes, his forum name, his username is always G. Allen. So I'm curious to wonder what that G stands for.
He's a G. That's what it means.
Can we officially say it's ain't nothing but a G thing?
Well, he's won a race, so yeah, I think we can say that.
All right, ain't nothing but a G thing for Mr. Lewis. So 7 total drivers led a lap with 14 different lead changes, and Lewis was in a heated battle with Chad Cole and Wyatt Wolf Jr. and Chris Schellenbarger for the lead, finally taking it over for good with 7 to go. And I gotta tell you, Wyatt Wolf Jr. finally getting a good finish. I know he races in like every other series we have at RSR and CARS Racing Series, and he's gotta have some of the worst luck. So for him to come back and get his career best finish at 3rd, I was quite impressed with him.
Yeah, he's finally just like some of the other drivers here. They're starting to find some luck, and if we can keep some luck too, then I think we can finally get everybody out of the doldrums as far as racing luck goes. But you keep racing, and you race as much as he does. You get some bad finishes, but the good finishes are finally starting to come his way. And as we look at the point standings for the Midnight Thunder Series, Chad Cole able to retain his point lead by 28 points over pole sitter Dwayne Vincent, and Michael Stroll is now 40 points back. Matt Close, 41 back. Jason Pick, 42 back in 5th. And they will be going for some time at Das Boot at Watkins Glen. Isn't that right, Greg?
Yes, the infamous boot course at Watkins Glen. They're going to go away from the cup configuration, actually run the boot, which a lot of pundits have been screaming for the actual NASCAR series to be doing. Me being, living near Watkins Glen and actually being around the track and being on the boot, I highly agree with that. The boot is a blast, so I'm looking forward to that race.
Well, it's fun to look at, but as far as the sim racers might go, they might need some extra practice there, so they don't accidentally make that right hand turn coming off the carousel and get
They're
the
gonna, they're gonna
penalty.
need, they're definitely gonna need somebody to stand there with a flag pointing them in the right direction because and you can tell in practice there's gonna be at least 3 or 4 cars like right off the bat are gonna make that right hand turn and get the incorrect line penalty.
Although that is a tricky turn to go into the boot as well, so I'm kind of curious how many cars can get that figured out, or if we're gonna have to put up a junkyard down at the bottom of Das Boot Turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, the transition from the banking up into the actual boot itself is kind of crazy. So it'll be interesting to watch.
Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Can-Am Racing Series Late Model Tour, who was won by Chalmers Parker again, his second week in a row.
Yeah, Parker is really on a roll, just like last season. He came out and won 3 of the first 5 races last season, and now he's come out and won 3 of the first 4 this season. And so it's looking like he's going to be the man to beat again. But last season he had a cold streak right after he won his 3rd race. So we'll have to see what happens with that one for this season. He was in a really heated battle with Chris Cable for the lead. Unfortunately, he and Cable did make contact coming off of turn 4 while battling for that lead, and Cable ended up biting the wall. He did claim that one on his own, so that allowed Parker to go on and lead the last 32 laps to win.
Yeah, Landon Huffman had something for Parker, but he just could not catch up to him to make the pass before a late race caution came out. Huffman did get to the rear bumper of Parker and was planning to make his move, as he told us after the race. Except I got in a little trouble coming off of turn 4 and ended the race.
That's a tough track, though. New Smyrna is just so tough. I personally really like it just because of the tight racing, but unfortunately, it also breeds a lot of cautions. I mean, short tracks, guys driving hard is going to happen. So unfortunately, Landon just ran out of time. There were only 3 lead changes that entire race, which was quite shocking. But I guess that's what you get with the short tracks like that.
Yeah, 10 cautions, 3 lead changes, and a lot of broken hearts from that race, and a lot of incident points, too.
Indeed. Parker does retain the points lead by 21 over hard-charging Sam Edwards, who is starting to really make some noise. He's 21 points back, but he did jump up 2 spots. Third is the aforementioned Nick Silver. He's actually tied with myself for third, 24 points back. And then John Hanna Jr., who, if anybody watches the forums, has been basically taking his claim to the title this season. He's 31 points back in fifth. So he's got quite a hill to climb, but we'll see how it shapes out over the next 10 races.
Yeah, Chalmers has pretty much said he wants another trophy, too, since he got that first one. So we'll have to see how this all plays out, as we have plenty of races left here, too. I think at least 5 or 6 more races this season. Next race is at USA International. It's 100 laps, about 7 cautions on average at this track. A low of 5 and a high of 10 in the 3 times we've raced there, but no repeat winners. Forrest Urban, Chalmers Parker, and Nick Silver have all claimed the flag at the end of a USA International race. Last race we had, 5 cautions, 5 lead changes, won by Nick Silver.
That track is so much fun, and I really wish that more people would run it because they would just see how great it really can be. It can be as 2 lanes of really good racing, and as evidenced by our past races there, it can be really exciting.
You say tomato, I say tomato. I really don't like that track, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't often listen to you anyway. So with that, we'll move on to the Trading Paints Pro Cup series that runs on Tuesday nights with Can-Am Racing Series. Chad Cole, as usual, wins the race at Texas. 110 laps, and it was crazy. We got right off the bat, side by side, really hard racing throughout the 20-car field. But the crazy thing was, we went caution free.
Yeah, I believe it's the first TradingPaints.com Pro Cup race to go caution free, and because it went caution free, we actually had these funny things called green flag pit stops. Greg, how green flag pit stops work?
I knew you were gonna bring me up in that one. Since
It's
we
a
rarely
softball. Let's be honest.
it was. I know we rarely have green flag pit stops just due to the nature of sim racing and all. But throughout the first run, Cole had jumped out to a lead, but Ben Burnett and myself were really running him down. Burnett more so than me. He came from farther back than I did. But we were going to really put a nice dent into the lead of Chad Cole. But unfortunately, I took a speeding penalty on pit road just because, who really does green flag pit stops? Really, come on. I mean, obviously, I'm being facetious, but I ended up falling back to 10th. I hate that laugh. But anyway, Ben Burnett actually did come all the way back to still finish second. So with a caution, though, the whole race would have changed. Wyatt Wolf Jr. was up there. I believe he got fifth. Ben Burnett, of course, was charging the whole first half of the race, finished as runner-up. So it could have been a crazy race, but Chad Cole ended up dominating and ended up leading 97 laps to win from the pole, outside pole, sorry.
And so taking a look at the standings after that race, it's really, like Greg said, not a whole lot happened other than him screwing up his pit stop and falling to a 10th place finish and Chad Cole dominating. So with that, looking at the points, Ronnie Potts leads with 2 poles and 1 win, 5 top 5s, 18 points behind him. Mike King, Chris Cable's in third, 22 behind, and Nick Silver in fourth with 2 wins, 25 points behind. Greg Netherwood sitting in fifth, 37 points behind.
The crazy thing about that, there were no changes in the top 5 after Texas. Every other series we've ran, there's been some sort of change. For this one, there was not a single change in the top 5.
Yeah, in Texas, I'm kind of happy to get out of there. For some reason, I couldn't agree with that setup. But we are heading to Phoenix, which I do have an affinity with. And that'll be an 8 p.m. practice, 9:30 p.m. qualifying. And it's a 112-lap race at Phoenix. It's the first time at the track with this car. How do you think this is all going to go down, Greg?
We've ran there in other series, and it's been great. So I don't see any reason why this won't be one heck of a show.
I tend to agree with you. Phoenix has really produced a lot of successful side-by-side racing, and some good finishes, especially what comes to mind is the late model finish we had earlier this year at Phoenix, where I believe Chalmers came from 2 car lengths behind and tapped the leader out of the way and won the race.
His only lap led that race as well. He beat Sam Edwards by less than 100th of a second. It was the only photo finish we've had in any of our series so far.
Yeah, so if that tells us anything, then you should tune in or join us for the TradingPaints.com Pro Cup on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. for practice, 9:30 qual. Come, race with us. Sign up at CanAmRacingSeries.com. You know you want to.
And with that, we move into our finale here with the driver spotlight, which I think we all kind of figured out where we're going to go with this one throughout our broadcast here. But obviously, it's going to be Chad Cole. I mean, he just had one of those weeks that you remember this one for a long time.
Yeah, the man won races in the Icebreaker Series, the Can-Am Racing Series Pro Cup, and RSR's Asphalt Assault, and then finished it up with a second in Outlaw Truck Series. And yes, that is 4 straight races, 3 straight wins followed up by a second. That's pretty dominant.
I'd say so. And the funny thing is about Chad Cole, he's never had any real life racing experience. He has been a sim racer through and through, and he's still dominating like that.
And you and me have talked privately about this, but we both believe that there could be a second black striper at Realsimracing, and it could be Chad Cole if he could find the time to do it.
Totally. I think everybody that runs Realsimracing or Can-Am Racing Series will tell you that outside of Landon Huffman, the only other guy they really see who could ever run with a black stripe would be Chad Cole, and I really think one day he'll do it.
And it's all about finding the time, but for now, we salute you, Chad Cole, 3-time winner this week, and topped off with a second-place finish. Nice job, Chad. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the week ahead. Monday night, the RSR Icebreaker Series live on ETV, which you can find at etv-eplay.net. A broadcast time at 9:30 p.m. They're at Talladega, and we are giving away some money with the Blizzard bonus. So check in on the Hippie Dog race at Talladega. Monday night, RSR Icebreaker live on ETV, 9:30 p.m.
And Tuesday is the Can-Am Racing Series TradingPaints.com Pro Cup. They're at Phoenix, 8 p.m. practice, 9:30 p.m. race, 112 laps.
Wednesday night, it's the RSR Asphalt Assault Series, 8:30 p.m. practice, 9:30 qual at Dover.
And on Thursday, the Real Sim Racing Outlaw Truck Series live on ETV, etv-eplay.net. They are at Michigan for the 9:30 p.m. event.
Friday, the Real Sim Racing Midnight Thunder Race, 11 p.m. practice midnight race time. They're at Watkins Glen, DOS Boot, 35 laps.
On Saturday, the Can-Am Racing Series SK Modified Tour is at Rockingham for their first trip to the famed 1-miler. That is a 8 p.m. practice, 9:30 p.m. race.
And I'm going to be very sad to miss that one. Sunday evening, the Real Sim Racing Roadhogs, 6 p.m. practice, 7 p.m. start. They are running the Daytona infield course.
And on Sunday, to wrap up the week, the Can-Am Racing Series late models will be visiting the USA International Speedway, 8 p.m. practice, 9:30 p.m. race.
Plus, I believe there is a RSR Pro Cup race that night as well, so we have 8 or 9 races this week, so there's something for you to come race at Real Sim Racing and Can-Am Racing Series. So come join us for a race if you haven't raced with us before. If you do race with us, then why don't you try adding another race on and see if you find something else you like. Plenty of racing, plenty of fun, and boy, is it going to be a busy week, Greg.
It is. There's at least one race every night. If it's a weekend, you got 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It's going to be crazy.
And with that, I believe we are all done for this week on the Realsimracing.com Rewind. For Greg Netherwood, I'm Patrick Hahe. Thank you for joining us as always, here on ETV and our Realsimracing.com YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, great night, great morning, and have a good day, everybody.
Okay, that was a little bumbled, but it's good. It'll work.
Mumble mouth, mumble mouth, mumble mouth.